All right. It is June 13th, 2023. I have Waqas Ahmed back. We're going to catch up since the last time we talked in about March. And welcome back, Waqas. It's a pretty somber time, I guess, in terms of what we're going to talk about with Pakistan. But the thing I wanted to do to frame the discussion is actually an article from a couple of weeks ago. In the Economist called Imran Khan loses his battle with Pakistan's army. It's dated June 1st. So they're kind of declaring that it's over. And they kind of do a recap about Imran Khan's arrest on May 9th, and then they were forced to free him, which was a big moment, I would say, in recent history. But he says, the Economist says, as Pakistan's most popular politician with a legion of committed activists and apparently no fear of the army, Mr. Khan looked odds on to win a general election due later this year. Barely 3 weeks later, the political walls have caved in on him. The generals have in effect dismantled the party Mr. Khan founded in 1996. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, PTI, scores of its senior leaders have defected and thousands of its supporters have been arrested. The government of Shehbaz Sharif is openly mulling banning the party. Mr. Khan, who faces dozens of charges, including corruption and blasphemy, could be tried by a military court and perhaps expect a long political exile at best. Pakistan's beleaguered civilian institutions appear for now to be firmly back under the army's sway. So what's your reaction to that, to the headline, Imran Khan loses his battle with Pakistan's army, and the analysis that they present there?
Well, and their analysis is mostly accurate, but their conclusion I don't agree with. The battle is not over. And these, like Pakistani military has been entrenched in Pakistani politics for 60, 70 years, 70 years now. And there's no way someone can remove it in a year or in 5 years. This is a battle for Pakistan, and it will rage on for the next 70 more years. And like democracy is always a slow process, and people always people taking power from entrenched power elite is always a slow process, and it's always a battle that continues on. So for the Economist to say that, maybe as an outsider, it makes sense to them. In the short run, the military may have won because military like state machinery with them. But in the long run, I don't think that they can ever actually win.
So there's also another line. I guess this is a lot of what you've been covering for people who are watching your Twitter, for example, as a journalist on your own beat. You've been covering this. The Economist writes, penitent PTI leaders have been paraded before journalists, condemning the violence, disassociating themselves from Mr. Khan, and pledging fealty to the army. So I guess we should take some time, and you can just wanted to give you some space to talk about the various stories of the crackdown that you've been covering.
Yeah, so how this is being achieved, and my friend Umar Kareem wrote an article for Arab News recently. It's worth reading if you just Google Umar Kareem Arab News. His latest article was, what is currently happening in Pakistan is depoliticization of a major segment of society. And this has to be achieved by force. And you just mentioned that thousands of people have been arrested, 10,000. The exact number is 10,000 people have been arrested within 1 month. The government and I would not say the government, the military since last year has been doing a lot of things to try to ensure that Imran Khan's party, the PTI, does not give them a really tough time, but they've been unable to do so. Now the things have reached a climax where they have arrested 10,000 people. They jailed at least 350 women, many of these women. And this was the first time in Pakistan's history that women were treated this way, because this was also the first time in history where women's participation in politics was like in such a huge number. So they arrested around 350 women. Many of these women were mistreated during arrests. I talked personally to women who were inappropriately treated during arrest by male policemen. They were put in jails. There were no charges against them. There were no FIRs. Many of these women were let go. At least I know of at least 13 to 15 women who are still in jail, and their crime is just protesting against the Pakistani military's interference in Pakistani politics. So what's currently happening is Pakistani military understands that there's a whole class of Pakistani society that is rising up against them. And these are followers of Imran Khan. And like the Economist said, Imran Khan is currently the most popular politician of Pakistan. He's the only one who can actually pose a threat to them. All other politicians in Pakistan, everyone else is on the military side, is a part of the government. So Pakistan has now only a two-party system, which is military plus all the politicians versus the PTI Imran Khan. And these are how the lines have been drawn. So to stop Imran Khan, to ensure that he is not popular enough before the elections are supposed to happen, elections are supposed to happen in October, right? So before elections happen, the military wants to ensure that all dissent in Pakistan is completely stifled. And they're doing a lot of human rights abuses in this process. Just a couple of days ago, I shared some documents, and these are the documents from the Pakistani government. These are the documents from the Pakistani state. These are police documents. They're reports, like policemen write these reports that we went to someone's house to arrest this person. We did not find this person, so we arrested their son instead. So we arrested their personal assistant instead. We went to his office. He was not there. We arrested their personal assistant. We're interrogating them. So basically, this is collective punishment that is being given to PTI supporters. These are stark human rights violations. These are documented by like self-incriminated documented evidences of them committing these human rights violations.
Yeah, that can't be legal in
It is
Pakistani
not, none of this
law.
is legal. Whatever
Yeah,
has been happening in Pakistan for the past 1 year, since this military coup happened, and you might remember the first show, we were
yeah,
really curious about if this is a military coup or not. Now,
yeah,
this should be abundantly clear to us. If the Economist can see it, an Economist is the last one to see anything.
yeah.
Right? If the Economist can see that the real fight between Pakistani people is against the Pakistani military, everyone should be able to see it right now. This crackdown that is happening in Pakistan is on the behalf of the military. When Imran Khan was arrested on 5th of May, no, sorry, 9th of May, he was arrested by a paramilitary force. He was not arrested by the police. That is why the Supreme Court said that his arrest was illegal. All of these 10,000 arrests that have happened without any charges, they are all illegal. Now, another illegal thing that the military is going to do, since the military abducts, the correct term should be abducts or disappears these people without any charges, they are eventually, like around in 10 days, 20 days, they have to be shown in front of magistrates. And since many of these people do not have any actual cases against them, the magistrates have to let them go. So the military is sick of these shenanigans, like of obeying the law by the Pakistani judicial arm of the Pakistani government. They don't want the judges, they don't want the courts to let these people go. So they've resorted to another illegal thing, which is illegal according to international law. Amnesty said that if the Pakistani military does this, it will be in violation of international human rights law, which is try these civilians in military court. So the military has decided, since they can actually legally prosecute these people, they're going to take them to military courts. And in military courts, all of these happen behind closed doors. There are no real judges. It's all military courts are, drama. They happen behind closed doors. There are no lawyers. There are no actual judges, just people in uniform. They decide things, and they will send these kids to jail. Many of them, like 20-year-old, 18-year-old. There have been like even minors in this. So they're going to send all these kids and all these women into jail without due process. This is how military hopes to crack down on all dissent in Pakistan.
So, I guess I have two kind of thoughts to follow from. I don't know whether you have whether there's a debate, but like in terms of recent history, bringing an army under control of the government, I think of like Turkey and Erdogan as like the example. Are people talking
Yeah.
about that in Pakistan at all? Like,
Yeah, people have been talking about since day one.
yeah.
Turkey is the shining example for people talk about like
Yeah.
those videos of normal civilians beating up military men on the
Yeah.
streets, but that cannot happen in Pakistan. Erdogan did something really smart in his first two terms that Imran Khan never did.
Okay.
He strengthened other institutions. He strengthened his civilian law
Yeah.
enforcement. He strengthened his police. So he could, like, whatever his ulterior motives were, but he
Yeah.
had a firm grip on Turkey by the time the military came for him. Imran Khan never did that. Imran Khan kept thinking that he is on the same page with the military, that he's going to get along with the military, that the military will always, forever, in the future of Pakistan will be the strongest institution of Pakistan. This is an assumption.
Yeah.
Nobody actually tried to question this assumption. Imran Khan did not, and he is being punished for this
Yeah.
assumption.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Imran Khan's maybe naivety or some kinds of political misjudgments, maybe there was the video that went around, or the audio that went around of Imran Khan talking to Maxine Waters, who's on the left wing. Like Maxine Waters is not like the Washington establishment. I don't know whether people know that, but there were people who were kind of critical of Imran Khan who were saying, look at this, he's asking the US to take a
Yeah.
stand, and kind of throwing Russia under the bus or whatever.
No,
So
Maxine Waters is no Blinken. She's not like.
yeah, exactly.
She's,
Like Maxine, actually it's interesting because like during the overthrow of Aristide, another elected president in Haiti in 2004, Maxine Waters was, I think, in office at that time, and she was one of like two or three U.S. officials who were against the coup. So it
yeah.
actually makes a lot of sense that Imran Khan would talk to her. She would.
No, it's Maxine, I think, is really connected to her constituents, which is the basic thing about her. And I happen to know about how this came into being, like how this happened, how this was managed. So she has a big Pakistani constituency, and she's really connected to them. And one mistake that the Pakistani military has made. So since they have cracked down on all dissent at home, the Pakistani diaspora, which was till this day, it was depoliticized. It was not political. Yeah. Now the Pakistani military, by going after Imran Khan, has extremely politicized the Pakistani diaspora. You won't believe how many people I actually talk to who are like, really, that these are doctors. They never thought about politics, and there are many of them are doctors, businessmen. They make a bunch of money, and now they've decided to start donating campaign funds to their congressmen, their senators. They've decided to become not just involved in Pakistani politics, but their local politics, because they understand that their local politics actually ends up, America is an empire. We can argue about that, but it is an empire, and all the other countries are colonies. So the Pakistani governor of the American empire is influenced by this homeland here. Yeah. So a lot of Pakistanis have in some aspect understood this part of it. So what they're trying to do is reach out to their local congressmen, their local senators, and say that, we're going to donate a bunch of money to your campaigns. We are Americans, but, we are also Pakistanis. So please pay attention to what is happening in Pakistan. This is why I know about Maxine. A lot of Pakistani diaspora reached out to her and asked her to speak up about this. Also, 60 congressmen and senators wrote a letter to Blinken talking about this. This was all managed by Pakistani diaspora. And Blinken, just 2-3 days ago, I think, wrote back to them and saying that we cannot be a party. It was like a very milquetoast, stupid, like nothing. We are concerned about Pakistan. We're really going to, we're really with the democratic process. But the thing is, in Bangladesh, just last week, Blinken said that there is going to be sanctions against Bangladesh authorities in fears that Bangladesh government would at some point in the future not hold free and fair elections. This has not happened yet. These sanctions are about a future possibility. But in Pakistan, many things have actually happened and there are no sanctions against Pakistan. So Bangladesh and Pakistan are equal countries, equal population, like equal importance, everything. Why is the American administration standing behind the Pakistani military and not behind the Bangladeshi whatever good government, Hasina Wajid dictatorship there is over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a yeah. I didn't. I mean, for me, it made perfect sense that he would at least try that venue. You know, I don't know how much would
this
come
is
out of
ongoing.
it.
This will never stop. Imran Khan might not even try this. So Imran Khan didn't reach out to Maxine Waters.
Oh, I see.
Someone, a Pakistani in America, an
I see.
American reached out to Maxine Waters, and then he reached out to Imran Khan and said, I'm going to connect you to, you should talk to her. She might, because she's on the House Finance, like she was a chairperson of the Finance Committee for the longest time, and she's the ranking member. She holds the keys to the budget still here. So talk to her, and she might have some influence.
Right. Man. So I mean, you know, in the beginning there was repression. It does seem like in the early phases there were repression, but there were also these gigantic rallies. And now it just seems like the repression is like has kind of turned the tide. I wonder if you feel that way and how you think they managed to do that. Is it
by being brutal?
Just
how they managed to do that, by sheer state brutality. Like I said about earlier about women's participation in PTI, and on 25th of May last year, when these big rallies were happening, they tear gassed women, they tear gassed children, they tear gassed families who were protesting. That was fine. People still kept protesting, but in the recent stories, they're going after women, they're arresting them, and they're mistreating them. Pakistani women cannot stand this. I've talked to women, they're like, we're going to stop participating. Like it's a big thing, and it's a very conservative society. So women step back from political participation, then going after families. So if I am politically like very committed and I have a political opinion, I've been saying it on Twitter. If someone does something, I could be brave, I could be fearless, I could say a lot of things. But if someone goes, arrests my father, my children, then it becomes a completely different thing. So it's the state's willingness to go above and beyond what even I was telling a friend, even Gestapo never arrested someone's family member. Do you know of any story about like Gestapo going to a place and finding and that person not being there and then arresting their family member instead?
Maybe not within Germany, probably obviously in Russia once they invaded Russia, but not in their own country, probably not. I don't know.
Yeah. Even there, this very senior Pakistani lawyer Latif Khosa was saying that during Ziaul Haq dictatorship, a proper military dictatorship, brutal dictatorship, even he never did that. He never went after the families of people, arresting someone.
So he would torture dissidents and jail thousands.
That was it. You torture the person you do not like. You do not torture their family. Now, something really weird happened yesterday. There is this guy, I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, there's a PTI activist. He's a senior politician. I forgot his name. He was in jail. His brother died yesterday, and the government didn't allow him to go to his funeral. And not only did the government not allow him to go to the funeral of his brother, the people who actually went to that funeral, the government went and arrested some of those people. So this kind of state repression is getting too extreme. And for the short term, at least, people are afraid. But I don't think that in the long run, you can rule a country by fear.
Yeah. And I mean, all of these things that Pakistan has to deal with regardless, like the IMF
Yeah.
deal, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. There's all these things they're going to have to make decisions, and they probably need some participation of society, including PTI people, to make some of these things work. I wonder.
I don't think that that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
The military is going to completely manage the next election. So a friend of mine I mentioned earlier already, Umar, he sent me these documents about 1985 elections in Indian Punjab. And they're really interesting elections if you look at them, how the Indian government conducted those elections. They at that time the
That might
movement
be a
was
case where they kidnapped families and stuff, actually, now that you
that,
say
yeah,
that.
that
Yeah.
actually would be the case.
And India and Kashmir too, probably.
Yeah, that actually is true. I'm not sure if they were even in Kashmir they were arresting families, but that could be true. And at least men, they might have been arresting. But Indian Punjab, they managed to hold these elections on a non-party basis. And first, they delayed the elections for a long time. They ensured that there was very low political participation. Then they held elections on a non-party basis. And this is what I feel that the Pakistani military is trying to do. They're going to hold elections. They have already managed to create a new party out of PTI. So all of these turncoats that they threaten, some with their sex tapes, some with their families, some with violence, some with torture. Like Reuters, Guardian, sorry, published an account of one such guy who left PTI because he was tied upside down to the roof, and they treated him like a punching bag.
Oh my God.
So after this torture, he left PTI. And there are many people, it's individual cases of how the Pakistani military managed to turn them away from Imran Khan. So all of these people have been forced to create a new political party. The Pakistani military wants in the next election, give a few seats to this political party, give a few seats to PMLN, gave a few seats to PPP, make Bilawal Bhutto Zardari the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and rule by dividing all of these in small factions. This is a colonial way of doing it. And Pakistani military is a colonial force. It was created that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is doing what it is supposed to do. The machine is working as expected.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't know. I don't know how long this can work. I guess it works longer than we think. When I was watching Egypt really closely in 2013, and they kind of overthrew the civilian government, and I didn't think it would last very long, but here we are, 10.
But it's different with
later.
Egypt. The difference is there was a large segment of the Egyptian, at least Egyptian elite, that did not like Morsi.
Yeah, Morsi screwed up a lot.
Yeah, that is not true with Imran Khan.
Yeah,
Imran Khan, this is also why they're not holding elections. And Egypt also has a much longer history of dictatorship. So Egyptians could tolerate a dictator for 30 years. Pakistanis are very.
It's always 11. It's always about 11 years, right?
Yeah, it's always that. And they leave in disgrace always, and they leave the country, or then they can't stay in the country, or they die in case of Ziaul Haq.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is not the video I hoped we would be recording right now, but I guess we'll keep following the story. Do you want to add anything else, Waqas? I mean,
oh, there's so much.
okay.
There's just like, if people are losing hope, I would say that these things happen to countries a lot, and countries might have to go through this and to figure out, how they're going to govern themselves. And Pakistani people, the good thing is the Pakistani people are continuously doing that, despite all the crackdowns, despite all the media blackouts. On social media, they're doing it. Even on social media, they're trying to crack down 4 journalists who are outside of Pakistan now. Since yesterday, they have treason and terrorism cases against them. There is one journalist who was already killed. We have talked about it, Arshad Sharif in Pakistan. There's another journalist, RSF reporter Sans Frontiers says that he might have been killed. He is abducted. Despite all of this, the Pakistani people are still fighting back. One thing And this is such a weird thing to say. One thing that might actually save the Pakistani people, the Pakistani future of Pakistani politics, is the complete collapse of Pakistani economy.
Yeah.
Pakistani economy is going to collapse, and these people who hope to rule Pakistan in ease and like peace,
Yeah.
they won't be able to do so because there's no money, and
Yeah.
people are going to get restless really soon. Without Imran Khan, even the most non-political people who do not care about Imran Khan, they're going to get restless when all of this hurts their pocket, and
Yeah.
something will happen then.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the situation, the economic situation of Pakistan is so complicated. I've been trying to sort it out. I've asked you questions on Twitter
Yeah, what
about
did you
it.
learn about the
But
whole default process and what could happen?
well, I've been trying to figure out like Argentina and Greece, and you were the one who was telling me that default is really bad, and I was hoping to find that you could kind of get away with it, but
Yeah.
I don't think Pakistan's going to be able to get away with it. So what happens when you default is, these US vulture funds come and they buy the debt at this reduced rate, and then they come around, and then so with Argentina, there's an incredible story where this particular vulture fund sued Argentina to be paid back the not the value of the debt that they bought, but the full value of the debt.
Oh, wow. They can
Yeah,
do that legally?
they
International law allowed
sued
that?
him in a U.S. court. So the Argentinian government said we're not going to pay. The vulture fund went to a U.S. court, and the U.S. court awarded them the money. So Argentina is still paying back that fund, that vulture fund. Yeah,
They
so
even
it's
reclaimed their ship from like South Africa
yeah,
or
that's right.
something.
That was exactly it was that incident that but basically showed that the US will back the vulture fund over, over the country that's trying to reestablish its
So all
economics.
Pakistani assets abroad, whatever they have like a bunch of hotels,
Yeah,
offices.
and I mean there's so many tools that the US has, right? So like with the FAT, like the Financial Action Task Force, they have all these ways of like potentially arresting people for sanctions busting or for terrorism charges. So I think even the Pakistani army, the Americans can get to them, right? There's so many ways the Americans can get to them. So it's a big mess, and it's like on the one hand, it's like, yeah, okay, congratulations, you've overthrown Imran Khan, and now you're in charge. Like, what are you in charge of? Like, what are you gonna do now? Like, you're wearing the
Yeah,
crown, but like you're gonna wear this,
yeah.
like you said, this collapse of the economy.
It's
And
really sad that all of this, Pakistani military establishment is so myopic. All of this, the
yeah,
Pakistani society has to be destroyed. The Pakistani economy has to be destroyed so that they can rule the top of this
the
like
ruins,
ash.
yeah,
Yeah, ruins.
the
Yeah, exactly.
absolute ruins of the
But
yeah,
they get away with it.
yeah,
They'll maybe make a like a few million, like 50,
yeah,
60 million by the time they retire, get a nice south of France chateau
yeah,
or a villa in Dubai, and that's a good life, I guess.
yeah. I guess. Well, I don't know if it's gonna work out that way, but we'll come back. We'll be back again to see where we're at in a little while.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thank you for having me, Justin.